guys, welcome back to our Work Friends review show. We're back with another Delilah review. Season 1, Episode 7, Purple Empress. I'm here with my girl Chris. And so, what did you think about this episode?
It was okay. I mean, I don't think it held my attention as far as the last episode, but oh, I just want this case to be over with. I'm ready for the case to be over with, done with. Like, I feel like Delilah and Leah just need to part ways because they want two different things. And that's all I see. And so I'm ready for it to be over.
Yes, this episode was more about the case than any other episode. The
Hmm.
other episodes had like a few sprinkles of other stories in it, but this one was very case heavy.
Yes.
But I did enjoy it. There was a few nuggets in here where we got a little backstory on certain characters. So we got a little
Hmm.
character development here that I actually really loved.
I
And
don't know. I
so
kind of felt like it was just maybe too late for it because at this point, most of the characters or people are just I don't know. We don't care no more. Well, at least I didn't care anymore. But I'm sorry, I interrupted. What were you saying?
I would say that I still care because it's season 1. So
Hmm.
I do want that backstory, and we only have one more episode left. So I did
Hmm.
want the backstory before the season ended. So we're not. Did you ever watch Scandal?
No, I couldn't
I
get
was gonna
into
say
that.
like on Scandal, we would be like seasons in before we learn somebody backstory,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
just I really don't like that. Tell me
Hmm.
everybody backstory in the beginning.
Right. But I feel like it for me. I like it when in the very beginning, like so we could just all right, get it out the way, and then we ain't gotta go back to it later on. Especially if a said character is already gone off the show or whatever. I don't care no more. Like they're gone. But
I can agree with
anyway.
that. But this episode starts off with Delilah. She's waking up. She is
Happy.
fantasizing about her date with Lawyer Bay and them dancing and them kissing.
Hmm.
She's just really feeling herself. Like,
She in a good mood. You can't wipe that smile off.
that's how I feel after a good date.
Right, I'm
So
here for it. Yeah, she needed this. She definitely did. And I'm
she
happy for her.
did. And while she's reminiscing, Mace comes a knocking on the door. And he was
Mm.
like, "Oh, yo," well, she was even listening to the song, like you listening to the music that they was dancing to. And so Mace comes in and he was like, "Oh, yo, your musical taste didn't change." And she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And their little banter is cute because I think Mace feels some type of way about her.
Hmm.
Like he might have a crush on her, might have some type of
Yeah.
feelings for her.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know, but the whole interaction with them two was cute. But he was definitely side eyeing her. He saw the wine bottles, he saw the
Hmm.
wine glasses. He's like,
Yes.
"You want some coffee?" She's like, "Sure, I want your coffee." Um,
I don't know, cause you know how you're just happy for her character. That's why I'm just really happy for her. And
I'm
then
really
just
happy for her too. Like she deserves.
yeah, she been having it rough. Oh.
So Mace basically tells her like I have some more information, on that Pine Trust
Hmm.
company. I caught Gary Shay's wife going to close out that account. So that means that Gary Shay's wife and Gary Shay have some type of involvement with
Hmm.
knowing what like of on the person who signed off on Nate's paperwork.
Hmm.
So they're all in this involved together. So
Yes.
she's like, okay, let me figure out what's going on here. We gonna need to talk to Gary Shay's wife.
Props to Mace, cause he coming through every time for Delilah. So good job, Mace. You doing your job. You really doing your job well.
He does. And so
And
at this
watching kids.
and watching kids. That ain't even a part of your job.
Right. At this point, he might be a friend too, like a good friend.
A good friend. So at the same time that Delilah is waking up fantasizing, Tamara is waking up to an empty bed.
Yeah.
Her man
All
is
right,
gone.
Casey.
And okay, so I'm gonna say this. Is it weird that he left her a note? Because we have cell phones nowadays.
Right. But I appreciate it because
So
people don't do that anymore. Like it's a sweet gesture because it's kind of like you took the time out to write me a note and set it down there. Even though I would have checked my phone first, but still, maybe next time put it on the pillow so she sees it right when she wakes up and not feel your empty bed. But you know,
okay, so on one hand I get you, it was a little sweet. But on the other hand, listen, you could have texted me, and then at
hmm
the same time you could have left a note too. I'm sorry, I just think it's weird that you just left me a note because she also calls him and he's not answering his phone.
I did not like that. That's the one thing I did not like. Why can't you answer your phone, Casey? What's going on?
Yeah, I just
And why could he just kiss her and be like, all right, babe, I'm gonna head out early? Like, I would have liked that better than, the note, the text, all of that. Wake me up. Let me know.
he
Where you
didn't
going?
want to wake her.
Nah, forget that. At this point, we engaged, wake me up. Let me know. Because and I feel like that's what Tamara was. Let me know. Especially if I'm calling you and you're not gonna be able to answer. Let me know you're leaving.
So then we go back to the office and Harper is basically trying to, I'm sorry, well, actually, Demetria is trying to apologize to Harper.
Mm-hmm.
And, they basically just agree to like, let's squash this.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about it, but let's squash it.
Yeah, and it kind of like it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't beneficial anyway. So it's like I don't really see the need for them just to keep beefing. Like I'm glad they ended it.
And then so Delilah comes into the office and she's like, hey, the Rick Patton girl that signed all the paperwork and who is on the Pine City Trust, well, Gary Shay's wife just closed out that account.
Mm,
Can you see what's going on with that? Let's get her in the office to see what's going on.
yeah.
How are these two people? How do these two people know each other?
hmm
Um, at the same time, you have Fred, or I'm gonna say it was Fred calling Tamara and saying, "Hey, Leah wants to settle. Get a
Yeah.
settlement offer ready for her." And she's
hmm
like, "Well, does Miss Connolly know that? Does Delilah know that?" And at the same time, you have Delilah talking to Leah, and Leah's like, "I want to settle," and she's like, "What?" But honestly, Delilah was wrong in this case too,
Thank you, girl.
because
I was
this
about to
case,
say that.
I know it involves your brother, but in reality, this specific case
mm,
is about wrongful termination.
yes.
And she is about to get a big settlement for wrongful termination.
Life
If,
changing.
if you want to
Find
keep
somebody
digging.
else.
But they don't
Yes.
actually have anything to do with this case.
Yes, thank you. I was like, oh, and then I don't know, I just felt some type of way for her to tell Leah that she owes her. Like, no, you didn't have to take this case. You still could have said no. And you knew what Leah was about. You know what from the beginning. She's just been wanting her money and go. Money and go. That's all. She ain't changed in that regard. And so for you to just keep trying to stall her out, like you not even care about the settlement. You trying to figure out something totally different than what she wants. So as her attorney, she hired to represent her best interest, you ain't doing your job right. That's all I got.
Exactly. And so everybody's working on this case, trying to figure everything out. Harper is watching some YouTube. She comes across the video of Cindy Shay and Rick Pattingale on basically some type of couples court. They both tell Delilah, well, she tells Demetria, and they're like, we got to tell Delilah because that's kind of the smoking gun that
Mm-hmm.
this is how all these people probably know each other.
Right. Good. Hey, go Harper. Yeah, girl.
Yeah,
Yeah. Hey,
it
I'm
was
an
a
asset
very
too.
cute moment. So then they tell Delilah she's getting ready to have dinner with her kids. Tamara comes over, says, hey, we need to pick a mediator. At first she's like, listen, we ain't settling. And Tamara's like, listen, your client wants to settle. So let's go
Right.
ahead and pick a mediator. And eventually she's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But this next part is probably my favorite part of this episode, which was Harper and Demetria talking, and that's when we get some character development, some backstory
Mm-hmm.
on Demetria. And she basically talks about her husband um being the love of her life and getting cancer. Um and that's how she lost him. And she actually left law school for 2 years. Actually, I think a total of 4 years, because she said she took 2 years off to take care of him, and then like another two to recover.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so she basically is using her story to motivate Harper to be like, girl,
So that yeah.
she's telling her your case is
Mm-hmm.
what made me go back to law school to begin with.
Yeah, I like this scene. I really did.
Yeah,
They
I
got a
thought it
better
was I think
understanding of each
it
other.
was very touching. They
Mm.
definitely have a better understanding of each other. And it likes me like a little Demetria a little more.
I always liked it. I just thought, they were just too different. But I felt like they'll get it together. Hell, they have to. They're gonna be in the same office. Like, look, we about to see each other every day. If y'all don't get close, something is wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it'll eliminate some of the I think Harper might have been a little bit jealous because she
Mm,
obviously wanted to be a lawyer. And so I
yeah.
think that some of the jealousy will go away with her knowing that life for Demetria was no crystal stale.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like she had to fight her way back into that. And so I
Mm-hmm.
really enjoyed that backstory. And the next thing we see is Mace meeting with this tech woman because he's trying to find this information for Delilah. He's trying to see if the wire payments that they said Leah signed for, they're trying to
Mm,
make sure that they're real.
right.
So he has his friend checking. The friends say, hey, you might be just, I know you're loyal to Delilah, but hey, you can make some real money making, working with this model turned CEO that has his business going. At first, he's like, no, I don't want to meet with her. But then he was like, yes, I'll meet with her just as a favor to you. They do find out that the bank statements or the file that Fred is trying to use as evidence is actually fake.
Mm-hmm. Delilah does have one hell of a team. We can say that. Okay, because they work.
Yeah, her team is
They
definitely fire.
yes. Mm,
And and so Tamara and Delilah are sitting trying to find the mediator. I like that this little part too that they pointed out the fact that black attorneys, black judges don't are such a small portion of the
mm-hmm.
system that they want to find a black female mediator, and the pickings was like two.
Yeah.
But they do end up picking one, and so they kind of get into a little girl chat, which I like. They're best friends. Let's be best friends. This
Mm-hmm.
case is almost over. Let's be best friends.
Right. Let's put this behind us.
So Tamara's asking her how things were going with Lawyer Bay, and she goes, "Well, Casey didn't tell you." And Tamara gets this look like, and so
Mm.
Delilah's like, "Girl, what?" Casey rolled out without telling me he ain't been talking to me. And
Mm.
I like the fact that Delilah was like, girl. And this gives me I think we might not know everything about Casey and Tamara's relationship. Because the
Right.
way that Delilah was side eyeing it makes it seem like he does this type of stuff all the time.
Oh, I hope not. Cause I really like Casey. But he has changed like since the last episode because it seemed like he wasn't keeping secrets from her before, and then like that was a big secret, thinking about running for Senate. Well, he said he talked about it a little bit,
Well,
but yeah, I don't
Delilah's
know.
side
And
eye
then he
was
left.
so Delilah's side eye was so strong. Even go back, let's go back to the engagement.
Mm.
Delilah didn't seem happy for her and seemed reluctant when she said, "Do you want to be my matron, my maid of honor?" Even
I thought it was
though
because of the case, but you think it was
I don't think
because
it was because of the case now. Like, I'm starting to get a feeling that, she might not be feeling Casey. Like,
okay, private investigator, okay.
it makes me question everything because I was like, this your best friend and you just really not as hype as you should be.
Right, but it
Um,
wouldn't make sense because this whole time I was like, you really letting this case get between y'all like this? But maybe you might be right. Maybe it's a whole lot of other stuff.
and
Season two?
even when you look at how Delilah is questioning Tamara, it's like so he skipped town without warning for a few days, the day before your engagement party. Like it makes me seem like this ain't Delilah's first time questioning his behavior.
Hmm.
So I don't know. They got me side eyeing Casey episode 7 now.
Right. My mom said she thinks that he didn't got somebody pregnant. Oh my god, you might be right at this point 'cause we don't know. He just dipping out early. We don't know.
Yeah, but I totally um I don't think he got somebody pregnant because well, I don't know. I'll get into more detail when we get to episode 8, but I don't think that's the case. But I do think there's some funny business going on.
Yeah, he hiding something.
There's definitely something that is being hidden. And so after that, we get to, they've picked a mediator or whatever.
Mhm.
Mace comes in and he wants to talk to Delilah about the documents being fake. He
Mm.
says, "Do we need to talk about this without Tamara here?" And Delilah was like, "No." Which again, this is you're not being a good lawyer, in my opinion.
Mhm.
It's just,
Agreed.
but she lets Tamara stay anyway. He say, "Hey, them documents is fake,"
Mhm.
and that's what make was making Leah want to sign to settle.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Listening to Fred.
listening to Fred. So right after that, they meet with Tamara, not Tamara, sorry, Delilah and Co. meet with Cindy Shay.
Mhm.
She started off lying. I don't know who Rick Paggio is. Then she finally admits, hey, that was an old boyfriend, had a drinking problem,
Mhm.
and that basically she introduced Gary to him. They set up the Pine City Trust to make the payoff, like the payments, basically on some like, I want to say, would you consider it blackmail? Like they was basically paying Rick Pattingale to Rick Pattingale was basically paying Gary to not say what he knew.
Yeah, blackmail.
Yeah, so it was just like a form of blackmail.
For
And
bribery, bribing.
yeah, or bribery in some way. They asked her, does she think Fred had Gary killed? It was just a lot going on, honestly.
Hmm.
It seems like everybody kind of had their hands in the pot, and so at this point, I don't really know
Yes.
who's to blame. But because Gary Shay, the one that died, doesn't seem so innocent either. But Fred is the devil.
Hmm. Yeah. Agree.
So then Leah walks in, and that's when Delilah realizes that they know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Leah has actually been to Gary Shay's house. She says she was just dropping off some baby clothes. But then Delilah's like, listen, did you have something to do with Gary's death? And that's kind of
Right at
how
this
that
point, we need to
episode
know.
ends. Because I've been side eyeing Leah, and I wouldn't be
Yeah,
shocked if she had something to do with Gary's death.
exactly. Cause
But
she,
over,
yeah.
but overall, that was a really good episode. It was kind of a filler,
Hmm.
except for the couple of instances of backstory that we got with Demetria Harper, and then finding out a little bit more info on Casey. He's
Hmm.
not perfect,
Right. Y'all
but
had to wait until the last two episodes, huh?
but it still was really good. So that's going to be it, guys, for episode 7. We will be back with episode 8. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us who you think the real villain is. Is it Leah? Is it Delilah? Is it Tamara? Is it Fred? Is it Gary Shay, the deceased Gary Shay, and his wife Cindy? Like, who is the big bad in
Well,
this
you can
whole
say Fred
scenario?
plus such and such because we just gonna establish Fred is already he already on the list. So plus
Exactly.
whoever.
So let us know in the comments, and we will see y'all next time for episode 8, the season finale.
Bye.